engine or something. We're live.
Yeah, see, I was hoping he would hide the bone for a little bit before he started to devour, but he's going straight for it right now.
Oh man!
Fuck
All right, Hugo. Let's do this.
All right, guys. As you can see, the heel marks are back in action, ready for another edition of Mark of Honor. So, let's get to it.
Physical.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not just smart, they heel Mars. They're not just smart, they're heel Mars. They're not just smart, they're heel Mars. They're not just smart, they're heel Mars.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, we are back once again. I am the custodian of charisma. I am the ophthalmologist of optimism. She is the sultan of sarcasm and the sorceress of sass. I am the ghost. She is the coat. I am Brady. She is Danielle. Together, we are the best friends in all the land. Together, we are the heel marks. And this is the best Ring of Honor post show there is. This is Mark of Honor. Ring of Honor just went off the air. If you missed some of it at the beginning, maybe you're watching Ring of Honor right now because they're showing that bad boy all over again. But thank you to everybody for coming in and joining us. Go ahead, get comfortable, get your snacks. You know, if you've got a dog, give him a bully stick like I'm doing right now. You know, so they can leave you alone and allow you to enjoy Mark of Honor and chat with us. We want to hear what you guys thought of the show. We had 13 matches, 10 of which were announced, 3 of which were just bonus that we didn't have any clue we were getting, but boom, they gave them to us. We got some matches set up for next week. One thing I do want to start with, Danielle, and it's that the show did begin. I don't know if you watched, but last week I was talking about how I wish they would kind of bring back the what happened last week videos that sometimes they start with, kind of just a quick recap as it pertains to what's happening tonight. And that is exactly how we started, where we did get a recap of last week's main event segment involving the heel stables really destroying the Trios Championship match. And then I'm glad they did this because they're not always, Ring of Honor is not always good at this, but they did have on Collision, and we'll get into our thoughts about that. But on Collision, there was a Ring of Honor title change.
There was.
And if you didn't watch Collision and you just tuned into Ring of Honor, you'd have no clue why the Undisputed Kingdom were no longer tag team champions and why Dustin Rhodes suddenly has another championship. So I am glad that they not only showed the heel attack that closed last week's show, they also clued you in on what happened Collision and the fact that we do have new Ring of Honor tag team champions. So I did enjoy that. I thought I do think that should happen every week. This is what happened and this is what's happening.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I was this episode, coming back, I was like, oh, all the stuff we ever complained about with ROH, they're now giving to us. And the bad part about that is the show's like 2 hours long now when we only used to have like an hour and a half. Sometimes
they were going like 45 minutes. They were just kind of like
45 minutes. Yeah. That one was crazy. Yeah. But I'm liking the stuff that they're doing, adding. I don't feel bored. I don't mind the backstage segments because I feel like they're leading up to stuff. They're setting up stuff. They're not just people randomly talking and stuff like that. I'm liking it so far. I'm a fan of it. I like it.
Yeah. And here's the only thing, and I want to just get this out of the way now. I want to start with a little bit of negative about what we just spoke about. Only because, and this is where like like we kind of were talking about how it was ridiculous the last time it happened, but now I'm starting to get very worrisome because whether Tony Khan, whether AEW realizes what they're doing or not, they're portraying Ring of Honor as a show that is so not important.
Yes.
It so doesn't matter that even when they do decide to do a Ring of Honor championship change, it's still going to happen on an AEW program. You know, like it was one thing when they decided to have Kyle Fletcher drop the TV championship in Mexico. Like not even on an AEW event, just had it on another event. But now we've got it happening on Collision, and it's like, so now last week I think we had like 2 or 3 title matches. I think maybe 2 title matches. And tonight we have a world championship match, but I'm conditioned to think there's no fucking shot a title's going to change on Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor titles may change during the week, but you're going to do it on an AEW show. It's not going to happen tonight. It's not going to happen on this show.
Right. I can't even tell you the last time we watched an ROH episode and there was a title change. I don't think there ever was. I think they're only for usually their pay-per-views or, like you said, on something like Collision or one of their pay-per-views. It's a very odd situation. I just don't. Yeah, it's not believable. It's like they're just showcasing wrestlers instead of having any meaning behind it. Because I'm trying to think if there was another time where there was a title change on the show. No, right? I can't think of it. I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, I can't ever recall. Kyle Fletcher won his championship on a pay-per-view, and then, as we said, lost it off air.
So weird.
Undisputed Kingdom, I believe they won on a pay-per-view, and now here they are losing it on Collision.
So weird.
Mark Briscoe won it on pay-per-view.
A pay-per-view.
So yeah. And it's like a Ring of Honor does do a good job of often giving us title matches, or at the very least championship in matches every week. But once again, like now I'm becoming aware that we've had 2 title changes in as many months, and neither have happened on the show.
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's just troubling because like I don't know if they realize what message they're sending, because it's not like they're just doing title changes on pay-per-views. That's fine. That's kind of the standard for wrestling television, right?
Right.
Like really a title change on weekly programming would be a special surprise. Like, oh my God, you know,
right.
And like they'll usually give it a big match feel, make it a main event, something like that. Right. You know, maybe a good hometown crowd. You never know. But so with Ring of Honor now, like it, you know, they are intentionally making me not take championship matches seriously when they're on Ring of Honor. I'm now being programmed to pay more attention to them when they're happening on a Rampage, when they're happening on Collision, when they're happening on Dynamite.
And is that what they're going for? Because it's confusing to me. Like, is this what we're going for? Is that what it just doesn't make sense to me.
Tony Khan did mention not too long ago that he thought he might be better off switching to like AEW Ring of Honor, like where Ring of Honor would just be the name of the show, similar to Rampage and Collision, as opposed to its own brand. Right. I mean, sure. Like that would solve some issues that you are clearly not addressing, but it would still most likely be their least important show, you know? Yeah. And it's like, if you're going to make that change and then start making the show mean more by having title changes happening on the program or happening more story moving progressions happening on the program, you could kind of just do that now.
Right.
And I thought the individualistic tapings that they were doing now were going to lead to that. If you have a crowd that's solely coming for Ring of Honor, why not give them a title change in that set of tapings, especially if you are going to change the fucking titles? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's so bizarre.
It just doesn't make sense. It's very sloppy and stupid. And it's insulting to the Ring of Honor roster because they put in the work. Like, let them have it on their show. Their show should have meaning. You know what I mean? So it's kind of stupid.
Yeah. So that's and it's also, it is not that the average Ring of Honor fan doesn't keep up with AEW television.
Right.
But like, once again, like it does. On one hand, it's in its own world. On the other hand, it's not. However, let's talk about what did happen. The fact is, as I mentioned, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara are our new ROH Tag Team Champions. We were actually talking, I want to say 2-3 weeks back when Guevara made his return, helping Dustin Rhodes. And we were kind of wondering, what's this going to be? We didn't think it was likely that these guys were going to be a tag team solely because Dustin is already trios champions with the Von Erichs.
Right.
However, here they've gone in that road. So now we've got Dustin Rhodes with 2 belts, tag champions on a 2-person tab and a 3-person tag team. So this is immediately following Dustin Rhodes' speech, where he said, which happened the same night, where he said he wants more. So I'm wondering if they give him maybe a singles title and they just make him they give him like a final run as belt collector in Ring of Honor.
Maybe. I don't know. This is all weird. It's a very weird situation to me. Like Dustin Rhodes being the person getting all these belts. It's very weird to me. I mean, I don't mind it. It's just weird.
Those trios championships, they didn't change hand on Ring of Honor TV either.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. They didn't at all. I actually forgot about them because you always forget about them because when do we see champs? The only champ we ever see is the women's champ.
Who we didn't see tonight.
Who we didn't see tonight, but that's who
I missed her tonight. I will, but to that point, and since you brought her up, like I'm not even joking. When she's not on the show, I do miss her. And Ring of Honor kind of doesn't cause me to do that with anyone else, only because I'm so used to seeing people sporadically and getting Mark Briscoe when I'm lucky to get him, and getting Kyle Fletcher never again, and and like getting these people. So I'm not really conditioned to expect any one person every week. But with Athena, we do seem to get her, whether she's in a match, whether she's backstage, whether she's having a meeting, whatever. We do get a little bit of her, and she's very instrumental to the program's entertainment value. So yeah, I definitely missed her tonight.
Yeah, I miss her too when she's not on. I miss all the ladies when they're not on. Billy Starks, I miss.
Yeah.
I miss all of them.
I miss Red Velvet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that opener. We did have our new ROH Tag Team Champions and the Trios Champions teaming up to take on the Undisputed Kingdom and the Dark Order, the heel stable that interrupted last week's main event. And they already got their win. So like that was cool, but like you did it in a week. You ended the story already.
It's so weird. We can have long drawn stories. It's okay to have a story that lasts more than a week and a half. Like it's okay.
Like it seemed last week that the Undisputed Kingdom and the Dark Order really were kind of coming for the Trios Championships.
Right.
A Cage of Agony was in there as well.
Right.
But then it's like that segued somehow to Dustin Rhodes and Sammy getting a shot at the Undisputed Kingdom. So in their attack last week, it inadvertently cost them to lose their titles. And then now this heel, stables unite, this bad, unholy alliance gets you nowhere. They could have given these guys a win here. No titles are on the line. And now we then wonder does Dark Order get a title match? Does Undisputed Kingdom get their rematch?
Right.
Are they going for trios? Are they going for, so many ways? But no, all you did was end a show with a vicious heel attack that set up an opening contest victory for the babyfaces.
Yeah.
And now they
super weird. It's a super weird situation, and also having them be double champs I think is stupid because there's so many people on the roster. Why not have other people have the trios title or have the tag team titles to elevate them? I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like especially I said though, I did inkling of that, like where like because we were thinking like we don't think they're going this way only because of the trios, but if it wasn't for the trios championships, we would kind of think that was going like like it did kind of seem like they were setting that up for something. And they also let Evil Uno be the most vocal component against Dustin Rhodes in that segment.
Right.
So I don't understand why they make zero effort to provide these heels with some momentum. I mean, I personally wouldn't have given us this match yet.
No,
I would have we talk about it all the time. I would have had the Dark Order Undisputed Kingdom open the show with an in-ring promo, explaining what they did, explaining what brings them together. Cage of Agony could have been involved too, because they did include themselves in that attack as well.
Right.
You could, and then even if you wanted to give us this match, I would have still opened the show like that to set up this match.
Yeah, set it up. Don't just have it because you're like, wait, what? Like, for someone who doesn't tune in or didn't know that they were tag teams, like you said, you tune in and you're like, wait, why is the Dark Order teaming up with the Undisputed to take on, like, what's happening here? Like, it's all very confusing.
Right. And it's like, in addition to, it's silliness where they do things that hurt themselves, because this was a good match. And I am fans of all of these teams, really.
Yeah. And no one got an entrance.
No, yeah, that was another thing. I'm so happy you brought that up because I totally forgot.
Opened with no entrance. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't even think we heard the bell ring. Like, we opened the show and
they started fighting and then the bell happened. And I was like, wait, what happened?
I remember they just opened it with like the recap, and then into the recap, it's the heels trying to do the shake of honor. The code of honor, and then getting flipped off by the baby faces.
The shake of honor.
The shake of honor.
That's what they have to shake. They do the backpack shimmy. That's their shake of honor.
But yeah, it kind of just seems like they want to give Sammy Guevara momentum. They want to give Dustin Rhodes a renewed push. So they're doing it here in Ring of Honor.
Weird.
And so there's zero effort to actually storytelling and progression and long-term anything. It's just all about, let's set up next week's win. Let's set up next week's win. Let's set up next week's win. So last week they set up this win, and by having them as champions, they've set them up for future wins with insert opponent here.
Right.
For down the line.
I'm laughing that I remember like 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Sammy, I was like, maybe this is punishment for him. They threw him in ROH, but nope, they're giving him tag titles, so he's definitely not in punishment.
Yeah. and he won it on AEW programming.
Right.
If he won it in Ring of Honor, that would be punishment.
Yeah, that's punishment.
If you actually win the title on the show.
Yeah. But
Cage of Agony, and this is another just a small where it's like, I just want these guys to have sense, right? So last week I mentioned where I was like, Cage of Agony theoretically should be pissed because they were in the middle of a championship match, and Undisputed Kingdom and Dark Order cost them the titles. But instead of them being mad at them or asking, what are you doing? They just joined in beating up the face, and they were kind of like, okay. So that was like another thing where this week I'm wondering, was it the unholy alliance of just those two stables, or was Cage of Agony going to be involved as well, just all united in wanting the trios championships? But this week, Cage of Agony doesn't say or do anything to indicate that they give a fuck about the trios championships.
Right, and they're
commentary even had the nerve to call them one of the greatest trios champions we've ever had. Without referencing the fact that so silly.
How many have we had?
But yeah, they do get the big win. And I say big win because Atlantis Jr., our television champion, was on the losing end. He was on the losing side, rather. So that's my silver lining, where it's like, okay, maybe somehow Brian Cage gets a TV championship match.
Maybe.
And Brian Cage would be a pretty cool TV champion.
I'd be okay with him.
He brings something we haven't seen in a TV champion in a while, like just a true dominating monster force where people would be scared to call out the TV champion.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm trying to think of the past people that have had titles in ROH, and all of them are pretty for lack of a better term, slender guys. Like, we haven't had our big guys.
Similar body types. Yeah.
Similar body type is the way to say that. Yeah.
It reminds me of like the X Division Championship more than ever.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah. But
you get a lot of high flying. You get a lot of,
Right. High flying, a lot of stuff. So it's weird. And then you have Brian Cage, who is just like this massive being.
Like if I had to pick a TV champion to match the past ones in style, it would probably be wrestled tonight, so he's fresh in my mind. But a Leo Rush,
100%, someone like that. So super athletic, Brian agile, Cage, quick,
right. And Brian Cage is, don't get me wrong, he's all those things you just said.
Oh,
Brian Cage
absolutely
is a jack in the box, but yes, like body type and style wise,
type
it's a
itself.
completely different story. And every X Division champion we've had, even Kyle Fletcher, who was the most dominating and just he really did put on a clinic every week, but nobody was scared to call him out. He did kind of, everyone thought, hey, I can take you to the limit. I can go.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a champion that's literally people don't actually want. It's like, wait a minute, you're getting your title match. Oh, I am? Hooray. Yeah, to the TV title. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be a fun dynamic. So I do hope they go there with this.
Yeah. And then after Brian Cage wins it, then Lance Archer should win it.
Or Lance Archer instead of Brian Cage. But that would also be fun. Like having those two monsters.
Like that type of style. Yeah, that type of like physique and that type of like build and wrestling style.
Yeah. That would be fun to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lance Archer, we did hear from Lance Archer and his crew. And everybody hides. No, everybody dies. They're putting everyone on notice.
When the whole promo is so good, but I have to say I laughed when Lance Archer came in and just like said the lyrics of his song. Like it's like he was gonna say other stuff and he's just like, everybody dies. I was like, okay. I was like, thanks for getting your point across, Lance. I appreciate it.
Listen, that's what he brings to the table, okay? That's how he rolls.
I love Lance Archer, you know that. I love that man. And
but yeah, I mean, listen,
I love them together.
No, and we've always said we want more from these guys because their characters provide so much range, provide so much potential. Their characters, their entrances do more storytelling than others do in their entire matches, than others do in their promos with some of them. So, like, we want this. Granted, I would like to know what direction they're going in. And not that we necessarily need to know, but Ring of Honor has programmed me to be scared that I'm not going to see these guys again for like another 3 weeks. And this promo is not even going to be mentioned.
What I was going to say is, are they heels or faces? Because I have no idea. I'm assuming they're heels, but that's just me because he said everybody dies. But they were like, we've reached Nirvana. It's like, okay, so if you reach Nirvana, are you a face? Like, it's
very they've been getting babyface reactions when they face local talent.
Right.
And that's not always like the local talent usually should kind of be like, you might have seen them at an indie show, you know them, or at the very least you hear them get announced from your hometown. So you're going for them. These guys are big, they're burly, they're bad to the bone. You're supposed to boo them. But Lance Archer, they all get positive reactions in their entrances and with their big spots. So I personally think they should be baby faces. I think it's easy to just say, oh, you know what, let's make them heels. Because you know,
I feel like when you're dealing with
everybody dies,
that, and when you're dealing with the aspect of like religion, it goes borderline culty. So when they think it's cult, you're like, oh, cult heel. Like I think that's what they go for, and that's why people would just assume heel, like the very, you know, like that type of.
And that's why, and that's why, moving on to another match, that's why Jacoby Watts, even though we talked about we think he has babyface potential too, and they could have a run, they're going straight with heel with him. They're sticking with the heel side because that is the very culty vibe. That is the follow me, all praise to he is me. Like, him
and the Righteous, like that tag team and the Righteous together, I think that would be magic.
We've been saying that for like ever. At this point, I'm like sad that it's not going to happen. But I'm not sad that we got to see Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange on the screen on Ring of Honor TV.
I also love that there was a promo in the ring. He had mic time in the ring. I was like, yes, this is what we want. If you're going to maximize minutes, have promos in the ring.
They've been doing that with Jacoby. Like they've been kind of making an effort to either have him do it in the ring or have him cut a promo on the way to the ring. Which honestly, I'm a big fan of that. Like only not all wrestlers have done that, but the wrestlers that have usually take advantage of it. And it's like, listen, man, you've got entrance time. Why not combine that, make that entrance a promo time? Like back to Cena rapping, back to Enzo and Road Dogg and the intro shticks, even Mr. Kennedy. Like Damien Sandow. Like, it's always good to have entrance promos. And Jacoby Watts is a great one because, like I said, if they did want to make him babyface, that opening match promo, or pre-match promo, I should say, would allow him to kind of direct the fans
100%.
and kind of control how they respond to him and react to him. And when he does say you guys are losers, but with me, you can be a winner because all praise to he. Like, that's when it's like, okay, we're supposed to boo this asshole.
Right. You're like, oh, yeah. I told you, as the minute you start mixing religion, everyone's like, up, heels.
Right. Even though I love how commentary always points out that, like, no, he's definitely not carrying like a Bible. It might be like a blank page book. Like, it just says like him on it. Like, it's nothing. He's carrying.
He opens it up and it's like a journal. It's his food journal of every day. All his macros.
So
that would
funny.
be hilarious.
You know what is always hilarious is the MXM collection.
I love them.
Cannot get enough of these guys.
They're
love how over the top they are. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to do one criticism, only one, even though I love them, I feel like Mansoor kind of bosses. What's the other guy's name?
I mean, Mason.
Mason, is that it? He kind of
Mason Madden, yeah.
He kind of bosses him around when he's like telling him to pose. Like, he's like, okay, now we're going to stand here for 2 seconds and then we're going to turn. It pulls off well, but he says it. And I'm like, oh no, this looks like he like bosses the poor guy around.
No, man, it's because he's the brains of the operation, like he's taken Massey under his wing.
Massey. That's fine.
Well, that was the name when they were in WWE.
Yeah, I know.
Mansoor and Massey.
Yeah. I mean, I love them. I think they're great wrestlers. I think their gimmick's super fun. I love everything about this. I like the Pillars of Destiny too.
And they have a lot of fun with it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
they
absolutely.
Really take it to like the line is a dot to them, to quote Joey Tribbiani. Like, they really cross that line and just keep going.
But I think that's what makes great wrestling too, because no matter how stupid a gimmick can be, if you can see that the wrestlers are enjoying themselves, it makes you love it. Like, you can't help it but enjoy what they're doing because they're having so much fun doing it that how could you be mad at these guys? They're having so much fun.
It was fun watching them backstage. Yeah. It was fun that we got this match set up in a backstage segment with the Pillars of Destiny. I can't remember the last time we saw Pillars of Destiny on Ring of Honor, so this was nice to see them out. They do give me, like, just because, like, they do kind of remind me of like the Viking Raiders or like the Highlanders or like, well, no, because they're
Highlanders. Oh my God, no, 100%.
Yeah, but like, so they do have to do things to set themselves apart if they're going to dress in ways that instantly take our memories to other teams and to other styles.
Especially like Pillars of Destiny. How does that correlate with what they're wearing? That's my...
I mean, maybe they're coming straight out of like the Zelda video game. I don't fucking know.
What? Okay.
Don't come for me. I never actually played it. Like,
I was going to say, what?
Or whatever.
It's fine.
Yeah,
no judgment.
I have no idea. Yeah, I would imagine creatures that dress like them in that video game that I have zero knowledge about.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you. You need like a gimmick that we're not going to immediately be like, oh, that's just the Outlanders.
It's not even the gimmick. It's just like they did the exact same like face paint style that we've seen. They were dressing like, it's just, unfortunately the look's not as original as it used to be.
Right.
And so like, I'm not saying ditch it immediately. I'm just saying they have to be cognizant of that and do other things that set them apart. And in this match, they totally did. Like, I definitely want to see more of these guys.
Oh, yeah, they're fucking talented.
The dichotomy of these two teams and the fact that it wasn't just MXM collection against two random people we didn't know. No, like, this is a team similar to what we say about the Righteous, where the fact that they do have a gimmick and they do tell stories with everything from their entrance to their motions to their tags. You are kind of like, you do want to see more. You're more interested in it.
Absolutely.
So these two had great chemistry, and I'd love to see more. But happy to see MXM Collection still on a roll in Ring of Honor. Also on a roll and headed to her World Women's Championship match, Abaddon. I do now realize as I'm saying it, commentary like makes an effort to always not go by her for Abaddon. I know Abaddon is non-binary, so they do say.
Oh,
they.
is she?
So
are they?
Right. But I did hear Riccaboni slip at one point and refer to Abaddon as it. I think I might have misheard it, but it did seem like and so I think Abaddon needs like a nickname, more of like, like how Nia Jax is the immovable force or whatever that nickname is, and like just that way, just an additional way to address like Abaddon's coming to the ring. You do not want to mess with the living nightmare, something like that. And it's like, then
right.
Yes, the living nightmare walking around, like just something. I think that would help in many different ways, but especially as Abaddon is our new number one contender, seemingly.
Right.
But we did see her in this match looking just as impressive. I gotta stop calling Abaddon her, right?
Abaddon means the angel of the bottomless pit.
Okay.
They could call them that.
Angel of the bottomless pit.
In place of destruction, realm of the dead, angel of the bottomless pit. I'm just helping you out.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
I'm trying to help you out.
I also appreciate the fact that we got 3 women's matches tonight.
Yes.
Abaddon continuing her winning streak on the road to her championship match. Trish Adora got a rare singles match and a rare singles win.
And with Trish Adora and the infantry, this is the type of stuff, them going out to the ring, hyping her up, like being a stable. This is what you do. And, and they didn't overshadow her. It didn't overpower her, take away anything from her. It just, they hyped her up and it was fantastic. She's so good. I love Trish Adora.
It's so funny to me, though, that they're like, okay, let's not give entrances to certain people, but let's have 13 matches. And it's like, if you guys cut back a little bit, you could have had Erica Lee get an entrance with the tag team we saw her team up with like a week or two ago, the Outrunners.
Right.
It would continue the Outrunners rivalry with infantry that's kind of never actually gotten closure. So it's this ever existing rivalry. And would have given Erica Lee just an extra little oomph, even just having them with her. Because I love that trio. Like, I want that to continue.
Of course.
It's all about presentation. Yep. If you present this as 2 stables, 2 trios with their female representatives going head to head, all of a sudden this match gets way more exciting, way more interesting. You don't really know what's happening and you don't know where it's going to take us. Exactly. But when it's just Trish Adora versus Erica Lee with no entrance and no backup, you know not to take her seriously. And unfortunately, you don't take this as seriously as you could. This could have done a lot more for all 6 people that I just mentioned.
Correct.
In my opinion.
I completely agree with you. I mean, we've talked about before, like you said, there's an unresolved rivalry between them, and why not have these women?
Right.
Yeah.
Would have been just a great reason to enhance that and give Erica Lee just a little bit of oomph, give people another reason to take her more seriously.
And have a story behind why they're having a match to begin with. It's not just a match.
And that would make Trish Adora's win mean a lot more than it does. And now at 100%. This point, we have to hope that they give us another Trish Adora win that's meaningful, like in a week or two, and continue it. Otherwise,
100%.
We did get Angelico getting a win. Last week, we saw his buddy Serpentico finally put an end to that feud, finally get his mask back. And
Angelico. Did you pop?
And Angelico, I mean, I popped that it was over. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, finally. We were like, this match again?
Well, because the funniest thing was, the main reason we were so sour was that the ROH somehow found a way to keep the rivalry going without making either team get any stronger in the process.
Right. And this is the only feud that they've had.
Well, they'd be feuding with each other, but then they'd put them matches with other people and they'd lose. So it's like Griff Garrison would lose. Serpentico would lose.
Right.
Like everyone was just
No
losing
sense.
to other people. And then every once in a while they'd face each other and Serpentico would always lose. So it was like, okay, this is just
Yeah, weird.
silliness.
Right.
But
Weird.
Angelico wanted to get some of that winning feeling. He got it against Aaron Solo. And this guy must have forgot what it felt like to win, because Angelico, no hesitation. This guy's calling out champions.
So
finally beat somebody and he's calling out champions.
can we talk about that backstage segment?
The Angelico one?
Yeah. Why was that a backstage segment? Why was there an inner monologue? Why were the subtitles have typos? Like, what was going on during
that? Was
I was like reading what he was saying, and I'm like, that's not how you spell that. That's not how. Why is there grammatical errors here? Why are there typos? And why is there an inner monologue? What's happening here?
Yeah. The whole thing was bizarre. I didn't know what was happening. And then all of a sudden, the crescendo where I'm like, wait a minute. This guy challenging for a title shot. That's what the fuck this is.
Right.
Guy finally gets a win. Probably I'd be willing to bet money right now that Angelico, this was his first televised Ring of Honor win this year in 2024. There's no fucking way he got another one.
Right.
Singles win.
I
win.
I was just, as it was happening, the first thing I typed was, what is this? Like, I was just like, what?
And like, if they just did that weird promo segment, honestly, I'd probably be more hop to it, where I'd be like, you know what? It's different. It's funny. These guys it works for them. Like, it would be okay. Right. But now all of a sudden we've got to use, like, that's the way you get us to take him seriously for ROH Pure Championship match.
Right. And it was just messy.
And it also goes back to my complaint last week, which was that after Lee Moriarty basically let us know, it seemed like he was telling us he was going to defend his championship against Action Andretti. Right. And then this week, it even kind of seemed like he was taking credit for defending his championship. But no, last week they gave it to us as a proving ground match. Right. And my biggest complaint was, like, Action Andretti's always been established as someone that should be title shot ready. Like, you don't need to really explain why he's getting a title shot. He should be past proving ground level. And Angelico should certainly not be past proving ground level, because once again, they have not given him any credibility.
He even said, "Oh, I should call him out after winning one match," and it's like,
yeah, like,
no,
legit.
You shouldn't.
Right. So now it's like, am I to believe that Angelico is going to compete for the Ring of Honor Television Championship when Action Andretti, they're saying he didn't deserve a shot? Like that, like, because that's just bizarre. I don't understand why they didn't just make, especially when Lee Moriarty was going to win the way he did. I don't know why you wouldn't just put the title on the line. All you did was hurt Action Andretti. And for someone like me now, when I see the next competitor to be someone like Angelico, if this is a championship match, I'm judging Action Andretti all over again. I'm like, damn, bro. They think Angelico deserves it more than you. You got to prove yourself. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't take this match seriously. If this match happens, like, there's no way Angelico's winning.
I mean, maybe if it's on Collision.
No. If it's on Collision, he's going to get, like, attacked and someone else is going to come out.
But the truth is, this should be a title match, and the last one should be a title match, only because you need to start giving Lee Moriarty some title defenses.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
I agree with that.
You gotta juice up the reign. So if you are going to make him, like, if people are going to face him, then yeah, and he's going to win, put the title on the fucking line. Right. And if you're going to give him a proving ground match, and, like, maybe they get past the 10 minutes, and then set up a championship match the next week or something. But not saying he should lose every proving ground match, but it should be mostly against people that have not done anything of value. Action 100%. Andretti's always been established high. He gets wins regularly. He'll probably get one next week.
Yes.
I can. So, yeah. That's the only thing about that. But it is interesting to hear from STP how proud he is of Lee Moriarty and establishing, because we were talking about how the fact that he was calling out Mark Briscoe, but then he disappeared. There was an injury. He addresses it. He says, I got a little hurt. Otherwise, I'd already be champion. But Mark Briscoe keep my belt warm. I'm
Yep,
still coming
I like
for
that.
you. Rumble, bad man, rumble. Yeah.
I like that. I like that line where you said that. I like that a lot.
I mean, Shane Taylor's really the ideal contender.
Yes.
Because he's the ideal champion, I think.
Because then if he has the title and Lee Moriarty has the title, I love that.
Yes. And that's what they should do. That adds something to Ring of Honor, same way Athena and Billy Starks did for the short period of time that they were running the women's division with their championships. Also, I think this would be a better fit. I think Shane Taylor as Ring of Honor champion would be a slightly better fit for Mark Briscoe. Ironically, because AEW or Tony Khan, the powers that be, love Mark Briscoe significantly more, to the point where he's in a stable that is mostly an AEW. He's on all their shows. Mark Briscoe's an AEW fixture. Shane Taylor is more of a Ring of Honor fixture. So it would give us a champion that we'd probably see more often.
Right. Mark Briscoe is ROH, though. Like, when you think of ROH.
Oh, no. I 100% agree. Don't get me wrong.
Right. But I definitely agree with you that he's in other things on different programs for AEW. But,
he's
when you think of ROH.
Person, on paper, Mark Briscoe is the perfect person to represent our Ring of Honor.
100%.
They were able to finish that story, tell it properly. He's holding the same championship his brother did. I love it. But unfortunately, because they value him so high, they're using him on Dynamite. They're using him on Collision. They're using him on Rampage. He's such a fixture in the main programming of the company AEW that the Ring of Honor Championship is mostly a prop for him on AEW. And occasionally he'll come here for a meaningful match. The main event, of course, which we'll get to. We'll get to it. But
okay, yeah, we'll get to
but
it.
I was hoping would have got that. But yeah, I did like that we got the debut of the Judge, former NXT talent, making his way to Ring of Honor. I thought this was a great showcase for him. And this guy's a freak athlete, former pro basketball player. This guy can do it all.
I like him a lot. I thought he was really good.
No, 100%.
Yeah, he's got something.
This guy's got the it factor.
Yep.
Yes. Jinx.
Yeah, definitely has the it factor.
And like with Ring of Honor, there's multiple people that have the it factor that they don't always do stuff with. They kind of they have the it factor, so they'll put them on. And then sometimes they have the it factor, so they move them up to AEW so fast. And it's like, so I think him just getting here, this was his debut, I believe, with the company. So I'd like to see him be as a staple.
I feel like he was in a tag. We saw him before in a tag. I could be wrong.
I think you are wrong, but you could be right. You could be right.
But it's okay to be wrong.
It's okay to be wrong, and it's better to be right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not always okay to be wrong. I have no idea who the Iron Savages faced.
One was
dog sitting. I turned my head. I missed the intros. The match didn't last long enough for me to get all the names from commentary. But I did want to still talk about this match because I enjoy the Iron Savages getting a win. If you're gonna make them heels, you have to do it for a reason, and that reason has to, at the very least, be victories.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're getting better with their heel establishment. They gotta get rid of the Titty Town still, but
Titty City. It's a rhyme, Titty Danielle. How do you fuck that one up?
Two T's, Titty Town.
Titty Town. All right, alliteration. I'll give it to you. No, you said Tittiesburg.
Tittiesburg. Tittyville. Yeah, that gotta go. That just has to go. That Titty cul-de-sac. That just has to go.
Titty Town would actually be like a great children's book for not kids.
Yeah, Titty Town would be everyone's dream.
It was a sunny day in Titty Town.
Yeah.
And everyone came to see.
Good Lord. Yeah, I think they're getting better at establishing that they are heels and you don't want to root for them. And them talking to the crowd more and being nasty. I think they're getting better with their smack talk, if you will.
And it also goes back to not that it was a good reason, but their original reason of they gave us turning heel in their promo was the fact that we have lost our way with you people. We forgot that we are the biggest, baddest people here. And if we want to hurt people, we can hurt people. So it's
Right.
like, if that's going to be their heel mindset, then these are the matches you need to give us. I would rather see them face local talent, and then move up to then probably Serpentico and Angelico will probably get fed to him soon. But like,
Oh,
essentially, I do think they should always have a size advantage. These are big guys. They are going to overpower almost anyone you put them in the ring with. So let me feel that dominance.
right.
100%.
100%. Couldn't agree more. It's definitely something this year. But I was happy they did get a win.
Right. Very happy they got the win. Also, on one hand, I'm happy that Lio Rush got the win. But it just goes back to what we've been complaining about with these guys. I was about to call them Prestige Worldwide.
That's amazing. I will say this was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, agreed.
Lio Rush is so talented. He's so good for his size. Like he's just so good. It's crazy too, because I'm watching this and I'm like, first time I ever saw Lio Rush was in ROH.
Yeah.
Do you remember at Manhattan Mayhem in 2017? Right. Do you remember who his tag partner was?
Was it Tony Nese?
No, it was Jay White.
Oh, wow.
Him and Jay White fought.
I do remember that match.
Yeah,
now that you mentioned it.
The Young Bucks for the championship. They lost, and then Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy came out and won the ROH tag championships. That was the first time I ever saw Lio Rush. Because I was like, was he tagged with Tony Nese? But then I went back and I was like, no, it was someone white. I was like, I just don't remember who. And then I was like, oh my God, it was Jay White. Jay White before he was this Jay White, before he was like the Switchblade.
Right. No, I remember. Yeah. Before he joined Bullet Club and everything.
This was definitely my favorite match of the night. I think Lio Rush, I know he's had his ups and downs going back and forth with different companies and like leaving, coming back, all this stuff. And I know that has to do with there's sometimes mental health stuff and like just stuff in general. But this man always performs. Every time I hear that he's going to be in a match, I am excited to see him because I think he is such a talent. He's a talent, and it's not just his size. I think his size adds to it because you don't expect so much from him, and there's just so much that comes out of this man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he gets used in the future. I think the sky is the limit with Lio Rush, but you got to be in a company with people who want you to reach the sky.
Right.
If anyone remembers, I want to say why he left last time, but while he was working for AEW and was being pushed, they were using him in a tag team with Dante Martin, and he was being featured and highlighted every week. But then Tony Khan went on Twitter publicly, said Big Swole wasn't that good, which is why he didn't keep her around. Lio Rush went on Twitter and said, this is not okay. Like, no, Tony, we got to talk because this don't fly. Then, like, a week later, I think Lio Rush was like, yes, we talked, and, I understand him better now. And then, like, 2 weeks later, he was gone from the company.
Right.
So,
there's a lie.
We didn't see it. Yeah, like, we didn't see him there for years. So, listen, he came back, and he's this entire 2024 and late last year, he's been having like going on a crazy run, brought back the Blackheart, absolutely killing it, been on another level. And the reason why I was saying I'm so happy Lio Rush won this match is because if you remember last week, Paul White made this match when Tony Nese was asking for a TV championship opportunity. Paul White basically said, all right, you want to prove to me you deserve one? How's this? Why don't you beat Lio Rush? And then we'll talk. And I was saying this last week, I hope that since this match was kind of made out to be an informal, unofficial number one contenders match for Tony Nese, I'm hoping that carries through for Lio Rush. It wouldn't surprise me for them to just sweep it under the rug and never mention it again, especially since we did not really see Paul White in any capacity tonight. So they're not making efforts to remind us every week that he's kind of in charge now. But my memory is fantastic, especially for a stoner. So I remember why this match was formed, and would love to see Ring of Honor follow up with Lio Rush getting a TV opportunity. I did mention that if we're sticking with that archetype of wrestler that have been holding this TV championship, Lio Rush is an ideal person to hold it next.
Yes, 100%. He's the he'd be perfect. I was just thinking that too. I was like, he'd be the perfect person to hold it next, and I'd be totally for it.
But and just to go back to it as a segue to our main event, it was weeks ago. Beast Mortos had a match on Ring of Honor television. However, it was a day following him getting a pinfall victory over Mark Briscoe in a tag team match. And it was such a random tag team match as well that happened just one day prior on Dynamite. And I'm like, the next day at Ring of Honor programming, Beast Mortos is on your show. He's getting a win. You're not mentioning Mark Briscoe losing to him. You're not mentioning that he should be number one contender.
Right.
They waited, I think, 2 or 3 weeks until last week when Mark Briscoe finally cuts his promo and says, you know what? Beast Mortos, you beat me on TV, and I haven't been able to sleep since, so I got to defend my title against you. You know, and he finally sets it up. But it's like, why? Because not only did they wait so long to get us here, but there was nothing in between. Not Beast Mortos talking about it, not commentary talking about it, not Briscoe talking about it before last week. So they waited way too long for me to pay this off. Especially since if you're going to take time between the pinfall to set up the title match to the title match, have the characters, talk. This could have really built up Beast Mortos in this time. And instead, people had to wait and almost forget that he got the momentum building win. So just real quick, back to what I did say earlier, we did see Atlantis Jr. get a loss tonight. So I think at least one person of Cage of Agony should get the first title shot. Or who knows, maybe we get Brian Cage versus Leo Rush. And then that almost becomes like an official number one contenders match. And that would be a fun match.
That would be a fun match. I'd be totally down for that match.
100%. Let's put it into the universe. But we did get our main event as given to us by Mark Briscoe's promo last week. Mark Briscoe defending against the Beast Mortos. Beast Mortos had been on a complete roll. I don't believe, I could be totally wrong, but I think this is his first pinfall loss in Ring of Honor. At least since he rebranded himself as the Beast. At least since he rebranded himself as the Beast Mortos. I believe the Beast Mortos had just been beasting through the competition, pun intended.
I love puns. I love a good pun.
Do you love an intended pun, or would you rather pun not intended?
I like intended puns, actually. Non-intended puns aren't as funny because then when you have to point it out to the person when they didn't realize they made a pun.
That's a pun.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's not.
Did you hear that pun?
Puns are fun, and then if you don't know that you did a pun, I like intended puns.
Yeah, gotta put a little effort into there.
I love Beast Mortos' mask too. That mask is so dope. I wouldn't wrestle in it, but it's so
like
dope.
A beast under that mask.
I would never wrestle with a mask. I give it so much credit to people that thing looks heavy too. Like that thing, he looks like which one's Bebop and which one's Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I think
Bebop is
Rocksteady
is the hog, right? Bebop.
Yeah, I think Rocksteady was Sheamus. And Sheamus was like the rhino.
Bebop was the hog, yeah. Bebop was the hog. But that's what it kind of looks like, even though that's not what it is. But that's what it reminds me of.
I whenever I hear Bebop and Rocksteady now, I think back to Xavier Woods calling AOP Bebop and Rocksteady. That was just
funny. Yeah. Love Bebop and Rocksteady.
I mean, they do have a very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bad guy aesthetic, though.
Who
well, AOP, but also Beast Mortos.
Beast Mortos definitely has it. Like I could see like him having to answer to Shredder. Yeah.
Bro, he bathed in the ooze at least once.
He definitely bathes in the ooze.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Mark Briscoe gets the championship victory. Once again, there was no real reason to take this seriously. Right. And that's a missed opportunity. Like they could have followed up huge. And it's the little things that they're not doing. Right. That just make it just a little bit worse than it could have been. Where once again, the win that set this match up, Beast Mortos pinning Mark Briscoe, didn't happen on Ring of Honor. Now, I'm glad that they did use a recap to showcase the title change that happened off Ring of Honor television. They never did that with this Beast Mortos pinning Mark Briscoe. And they waited like two 3 weeks later to have Mark Briscoe even mention it because he's not on TV every week. Beast Mortos was, but commentary didn't mention it. Why? Brain fart. So it's like these are just the things where, yes, you finally give us the championship match that you needed to give us, but you did nothing to make Beast Mortos benefit from this defeat. This does not set him up to continue to be a monster.
Yeah, it's super weird also because like we were saying, like we don't take any of these seriously. The only time I ever thought somebody was probably winning was Kyle Fletcher when he fought Mark Briscoe. I was like, okay, he's gonna win the title and then he's gonna lose the TV title because he can't have 2 titles and I had this whole thing worked out and none of that happened.
But even that would have been a giant mistake because they didn't promote that fucking match. Like they didn't use anything to set it up. They didn't give us a champion versus champion stare down promo. No, they just randomly, like I think, yeah, it was the week after Kyle Fletcher had beat Lee Johnson in the 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah.
And so that was Kyle Fletcher's first pinfall loss. Not losing the match, but he did get pinned. And then the very next week, they're like, hey, let's put him against the world champ, which he'll lose to. And like,
and then he lost his title.
We never saw him. We never saw him again.
I love Kyle Fletcher. He's a treasure. I love Kyle Fletcher.
No, they're doing great things with him in AEW. Like I love watching him.
I want him on ROH. I want to watch him here.
I mean, listen.
He's so funny.
Our Ring of Honor has plenty of talent that they can replenish the field with as Kyle Fletcher moves up, such as like an AR Fox. They can take an AR Fox and they can kind of set him loose. Anthony Henry, JD Drake coming back soon. Anthony Henry teaming with his new cousin Beef. So like there's ways, you know, they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of talent.
Let's hope they do it right.
Let's hope so. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in as you always do. We'll see you next week as we always do. This has been Mark of Honor. Never forget to follow us at the Heel Marks. She is Danielle. I am Brady. We are saying thank you. As always, you guys are the best. We are just trying to be like you. And never forget, we're not just smart marks.
We're heel marks.